Hello there, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Sharalee Uncut, where I just let the camera roll and I'm putting on a full face of makeup today. I'm getting ready to film at least 2 more videos. That's my plan, at least. So I thought I would bring you along. I have been inspired by our sudden cooler weather to do something a little more fall inspired. So that's what we're doing today. I'm starting off with the Ulta. This is the Matte Veil Long Wear Eye Primer. And I have been so impressed with this. I really love it. It's really not a coverage product, but you can see it kind of neutralizes the veins on my eyelids just a little bit. It's a very nice, smooth formula. And it has, most importantly, been keeping my eyeshadow in place all day. No creasing, no fading. And Ulta has recently redone a lot of their whole line of products. And a lot of them, it was just repackaged, but many of them say reformulated. And I think this is either a new product or new formulation. Really have been enjoying that. All right, so I have a combination of some things you've probably seen here before and then some other things that are newer. I might only have 1 or 2 products that are brand new that I've never used, but I just wanted to bring you along because it's so much more fun to put makeup on with friends, right? So here is a new foundation. Well, I should say skin tint that I've been testing out. This is the Maybelline Super Stay 24-hour skin tint. It took me a long time to finally try this. I just did not think in my brain that I would like this. And I feel like one of my friends tried it and didn't love it. And so I thought, oh, I probably won't like it because I didn't like the one that was the green label. Did not like that one at all. This is a totally different experience. But I just recently purchased a lighter shade because this one was a little too dark. So this is 220, 110, and I am freshly sunless tanned. So hopefully this won't end up still being too dark. Let me just test this combination I have. That's pretty good. I want to add some bronzer today, so I want to make sure I don't start off with my face being too dark. And I'm using the BK Beauty 101 travel handle brush. This is basically the same brush, just a shorter handle as the regular 101. But I have really been impressed by this skin tint. It says skin tint, but compared to the other tints that I've been testing out, this has quite a bit more coverage. And as an oily skin girl, this one, I think so far stays the best throughout the day on me. It also has buildable coverage. And I know the fall trend is like bare skin, like not even hardly putting on foundation all over. Full coverage is supposedly out. But I always marvel at the people who are telling us this because they have perfect glass skin. And I think, well, of course, if you've got perfect skin, you don't need to go in with any coverage or very minimal coverage. But I always feel like with trends, you take what you want from those trends and what works for you, what you like. Don't make it a rule that you have to follow those trends, because I am certainly not one that can get away with nothing. And the reason being, I know so many of you have said, I don't look like I need foundation. Because of my skin type, I can start off, my skin looks okay with, I just had tinted sunscreen on, so I was already fully prepped. But as the day goes on, my redness, and because the oils start producing, and the redness and splotchiness starts to come through. And so if I don't wear some kind of coverage product, my skin looks really bad throughout the day. And I have dark circles and things. So I just need something. Not always full coverage anymore, thank the Lord, but so you can see I just built up a little bit of that around the nose. But what I'm also enjoying about this skin tint, it's not a super dewy skin tint. All the other ones that I have, I feel like I put it on and my face already is looking really oily, and then I have to add a lot of powder to cancel out some of the texture. This one, freshly applied, I don't even think it highlights much texture, and as it sinks into the skin, I feel like that even gets better. Okay, we're gonna let that sink in the skin and go to our eyeshadow palette. If you saw my last video of ranking 5 new eyeshadow palettes, this was in the near the top. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it, but this is the Tarte Reflections palette. And I thought this would be a great palette. I'm drawing inspiration from my version of a plaid top. This is olive green and black. And I really, really want to incorporate this shadow as well as a cream shadow that one of you told me to purchase from RMS. So we're gonna start with this palette and going in with, I'm gonna do a little combination. We'll start with this one on the Sigma E50, right under the brow. And then if it's too light, sometimes I'll go in with the shade next to it, but actually that doesn't look too bad right now. So the caution is to not get your underbrow highlight too light, especially if you have hooded eyes, because then it can make that hood look even more pronounced. But I think that's actually not bad. Okay, next I'm gonna go into the crease. We're just gonna do a little kind of neutral crease work here. We'll start with this one. And I might dip into the shadow right above it as well. So these two, and I'm using a Rephr 15 Max brush right now and putting that high up in the crease, blend it up into that brow bone highlight shade. And then we'll intensify it a little bit more, but I'm gonna try to keep this pretty simple as far as our color combination, since we're gonna do kind of that slight olive tone. I don't want anything too crazy here. So I am going to film a hair tutorial after I get my makeup on. So I will have to, as I've done in the past, pause after I get all of my makeup on and go do my hair, and then I'll come back for the finished look. But all the rest of the time, we'll keep this going and we'll just talk about what has been going on, what's coming up. As I mentioned, our weather has cooled down dramatically. We're having about a week of a break from our awful, awful, awful 100, 110 degree temperatures. So I am so grateful for that. All right, I'm gonna take the Rephr number 1 brush and let's go in, let's see. I'm gonna do a combination of, let's go in first with this, and I'll dash into this one. So this one I feel like has just a hint of almost some olive tones, but I kind of like to mute it down just a little bit when I first go in, so that as I'm blending up into the crease, it doesn't get too dark and smoky too fast. Yeah, that's nice. So with this cooler weather, I've been very tempted to go get out all my sweaters and things, but I know, looking forward in the forecast for the next week, or about a week from now, we're supposed to be back up into the upper 90s. So I know this is a false fall alarm, but I'm enjoying it while it's here. So I thought, let's do some fall makeup. I even painted my nails a nice fall color. Just have to embrace it while we can. I know eventually the weather will cool down. Several of you had said that your weather, you were finally getting maybe a little bit of rain, some of you. We had a freak, it was almost like a hurricane that came through a little over a week ago as of filming this. So it'll probably be closer to 2 weeks. But it came out of nowhere. We had, I mean, near flooding in our streets, and it caught everybody by surprise, so much so that the emergency weather alert didn't come onto the phone until after it was all over. We had hail, wind, rain, but it was just a select kind of segment of our part of California. So even our town, our friends who live on the other side of town didn't get a drop of rain. Our church, no rain, no hail, nothing. It was so weird, but we enjoyed it while it lasted. All right, I'm gonna go back to the, what is this, the 15 Max, and let's blend a little bit more. I'm gonna go into this one. We might bring in a little of that peachy shade, we'll see. I love the combination of peach and olive, but I actually feel like this is enough warmth here. We'll see what we do. So I've had some of you ask questions about kind of the longevity of wear, even of this palette versus some of the others that I recently reviewed. This one's great. Of course, I always use an eyeshadow primer, but I have found these shadows to wear very well. I've not had the opportunity to try all of the shadows yet, but I've done some really fun warm looks and some kind of purpley looks. So today we're going to dip into olive. Okay, before we go into this shade though, even though I could use that one all on its own, I'm kind of dying to try this. So this is the RMS Eyelights, and it is the shade Eclipse. One of you told me I needed to check this out. You thought it would be beautiful with my eye color, and I think you might be right. It's such a pretty shade. So let me show you what the swatch of this is. Isn't that so pretty? Just a hint of olive. So we're gonna put this all over the lid, and then we'll bring some of the olive shade from the palette over the top of part of it. Because I wanna keep this look from being too dark and dramatic, I don't know, we'll see where we end up. I thought I would bring this in first. And oh, that is such a pretty shade. Oh, I have really, really been enjoying these highlights. They're pricey for sure, but these do not budge all day long. And you can layer them, and they're just a very unique cream shadow formula. So I have really appreciated them and enjoyed them. And I have also been happy to find that you can get most RMS products actually on Amazon. So I will leave links to everything down below as always. Oh, isn't that pretty? Wow, really like that. Okay, so while it's still kind of damp, I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. And you can see it's a deeper version. So this is why I didn't want to put this all over the lid. Let's just tap a little bit here. So we have kind of a gradation into that color on the inner part. Ooh, wow, that's really a pretty color. I've always enjoyed Tarte eyeshadows. And I do feel like sometimes their special edition palettes can be hit or miss, but this one has been a huge hit. And I am planning to, oh goodness, almost dropped that palette. That would not be good. I am planning to purchase some of the new holiday sets, a couple from Tarte. So let me know if there's anything specific that you for sure want me to review, and I'll get on that. Okay, let's see. I think we might go in. This shade looks very similar to what I have on the inner part there. It does. So if you don't want to buy that RMS cream shadow and you just want to use all powder shadows, you can definitely get this whole look just with this palette. That's a really pretty shade. Never used that before today. So I get asked often from, tutorial videos, especially these uncut ones where I'm demoing several products or maybe showing you some new things. You've asked, do I have to layer all of those products together? Oh, sorry, I thought somebody was here. Do I have to layer that many products? No, you don't have to go in with a cream shadow and then a powder. I just like to sometimes give you a couple of different options. Okay, maybe somebody is here, so hold on just in case my dog starts barking. Okay, I think we're good. It was the male. Gracie. Delivering a package to us. Okay, I think we're going to actually stop there for the moment with eyeshadow. I'm gonna go to the lower lash line. I recently repurchased the Urban Decay 24/7 pencil in Stash. I had this years ago, and as I recall, I think I used up or nearly used up the entire pencil. And I thought, you know, with my recent love again of olive toned eyeshadows and eye looks, I need to have this in my collection. These are one of the most long wearing eyeliners out there, and I'm gonna have these green swatches on my hand forever. You see how pretty that is? Has a little bit of green, but there is a little bit of kind of a gold tinge through there. So it's different than Mildew. Mildew from Urban Decay, that color has a lot more green, kind of a brighter green, and this one's just a hint. Ooh, we have some loud traffic I hear today, some big trucks. Oh, there's a lot going on around here in our community right now. So now for liner on the upper lash line, let's go in with the Kat Von D, the KVD. I keep calling it Kat Von D. It's not Kat Von D anymore. KVD Tattoo Liquid Liner in Mad Max Brown. And I'm going to just keep this super close to the lash line, all the way into the inner corner. And then we will kind of just create a little bit of a kind of lifted wedge right here on the outer corner. I think, at least that's my plan. As you know, sometimes with liquid liner, things just get out of hand. Thankfully, I feel like this liquid liner is a little easier to control. And the brush is just very soft. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go up. So instead of following my lash line down, I'm gonna go up and stop right below where my eye crease is there, where the fold of my eye is. And then we have to do a little magic on this eye to make it kind of even. So with the I can't believe we are past the middle of September, nearing October. In my mind, it's still maybe August. And I just cannot wrap my mind around the fact that I just was talking to the choir director about our Christmas concert that I'll be accompanying. And I thought, oh my word, we are already talking about December. And it's not that far away. So I need to actually, usually by this time of the year, I am already kind of looking ahead to some Christmas music, new piano Christmas music that I want to learn. Many times I'm already deep in the throes of rehearsing some songs, and that's not happening yet because I am getting ready for another piano concert. Last year, our fall piano concert was in September. So it was kind of nice because it was done before I had to start planning for, you know, Christmas things. But this is going to be November, the first part of November. And I feel like the practicing or rehearsal is going to be having to go right along with some Christmas preparations as well. Ooh, I don't really love how that turned out there, but that's all right. Gotta hold my breath there for a second. Okay, so what we're gonna do is pull out our E15 brush and just tap on a little powder shadow right along the edge. We're gonna go in with that top shadow there, and first I'll start over here, and I'm just going to go right onto the lash line. It would probably help if I pulled in my magnifying mirror here, but I was just being lazy and thought, I can see well enough. Maybe not. All right, and then we'll go over here. I'm just gonna kind of smudge this right on top of that line. And I like to do this trick because very few of us can do a perfect line all the way across, right? I mean, it's rare that that ever happens to me with pencil or with liquid liner. So this is the way you can just kind of gently diffuse the edge, and then nobody knows that you weren't perfect with your eyeliner, right? And then right here in this tiny little gap here, I'm going to add a little bit of that shadow and just connect with the lower lash line very softly. And we'll clean up that edge in a moment. Do the same over here. And this eye is less hooded, so you can see more of this outer corner than you can over here. So we have to kind of do some fancy work there to fix that. Okay, let's clean up under the eyes, and actually one more step. One more, changed my mind. Let's go in with, where is my little smudger brush? Here it is, the 204 from BK Beauty. And I'm gonna go back in with that same shadow and just work a little bit. Yeah, that's what we needed. Just connect, make sure I connect the outer part of the crease there. It's always good to do this before concealer because if you're using dark eyeshadow, there is just always the possibility of one single flake of eyeshadow, you know, falling down, and then you're thinking, oh, now it's ruined. Okay, let's blend, blend, blend. Okay, and we'll do inner corner highlight after concealer. Oh, I feel like I need to blend that. Oh, there's my brush. Let's go in with this brush here. This is the number 1 from Refer. There we go. So depending on your eye shape, and sometimes between from one eye to the next, you may have to switch which brush you're using for detail work, because like this one being a little more open, I needed a little more blend ability with that brush. All right, now we'll just blend this here. Okay, let's clean up under the eyes, and I'm using my trusty almond oil. Gracie has been on a recent kick trying to come up and lick this off of my palette recently, so I'll see if that happens again today. She has such a good nose for smelling things, so I think she's gonna, she worked up got out some of her energy, I should say, with that barking, so hopefully she's gonna chill out here. But all right, let's clean this up. Now for concealer today, I was debating whether to try a new one or not, and I think I'm not going to, but I am gonna try a new setting powder. So for me, when I'm testing out makeup, I do try to not test everything new at once, because then if something doesn't work, it's hard to know what is to blame. So if I'm trying a new concealer, I like to not try a new powder, and vice versa. So I am going to go in today with my trusty Dalton concealer. This is the Reishi Mushroom one, but I just saw that they released a new TCE, This Covers Everything concealer, so I'm gonna have to probably pick that one up. This is the shade Medium. I use this first, and then if needed, actually I don't think I'll need to today since I have a little more color. If needed, I go in with just a dot of light medium, but I don't think I need to. I know that looks like a lot, but I just spread, that was just one dip in. And I'm using the Dalton concealer brush. Thank you again to all of you who have purchased my little pink box with Dalton. It was restocked, and it is currently still available. I was checking last night, And I have been hearing from many of you that you got this brush thrown in for free also. So that's a nice bonus. I don't know how long they're doing that, but thank you, Dalton, for doing that. This has continued to be the concealer I just reach for because it is literally one and done. I don't have to color correct. It feels so nice on my skin, on the under eyes, and it just has the least amount of creasing throughout the day. So yeah, really been enjoying that. Okay, just go on with that one color, that one shade. Before I powder, let's see. I do have a powder bronzer today. I also have a liquid bronzer. Let's go back. I want to use this again. This is the Caliray Sun Drip, and this is the Peptide Serum Bronzer. So almost like a liquid version of the one that's in my Dalton box. So I want to revisit this. I am going to use the Dalton double-ended brush though that comes in my box. And let's just kind of want to distribute that a little bit. Let's just put a little bit of this on the cheeks. I know it's fall, but I am keeping up my sunless tan for a little while. I probably through the winter, I usually keep a little bit of a tan, but not quite this much. So I've been using the Tan Luxe Water Mousse and just really enjoying that. I do 2 coats and it lasts for a full week. I have good color for a full week, so I'll probably be doing that for a few more weeks at least, because with our warm weather, I just unfortunately can't be wearing long sleeves when it gets warm again. Okay, that's just really nice. It is a very easy bronzer to blend in, and I don't feel like it makes the foundation go patchy or anything. So I've actually enjoyed this the few times that I've been using it. So yay, glad I revisited that. I do need a little shaping to my face. So let's go in with, what brush am I going to use here? I'm going to use the Sigma, what is this? F43. It's an dense angled brush, and I'm using the Too Faced Chocolate Mousse Contour Stick. I've really enjoyed this for a quick little bit of some definition there on the cheeks. And this is a pretty easy formula. You can swipe this totally right on your face from the bullet. And in fact, I will do that in parts of my face, but here on the cheek, I just kind of like to diffuse it a little bit. So it's a good, oh, aren't you glad you tuned in today? See, you can see it's not all perfection here, especially on my channel, maybe other channels, but you know, we're human. We make those mistakes, especially whenever I'm trying to hurry or, you know, move things along quicker. That usually is when I start doing crazy things like that. So I always say this, but you can always feel free to fast forward if you get bored. But coming up in October, I do have a few things that are exciting. One of my friends and I, we have gone to Pennsylvania, Amish Dutch country. A couple times we've gone, we usually go about every 5 years. So we've gone twice, and we were supposed to go last year, and then we were like, no, we'll go this year. And then we're like, okay, maybe not this year, maybe next year. So instead, we are going to go up to Big Bear for a few days in October. So I am hoping that at least the weather up there has changed enough and we can get just a little taste of fall. And I just, because I'm from Colorado originally, I crave the change of seasons like crazy. So that is coming up in October. Okay, let's powder the face, and then we will do blush and some highlighter. So for powder on the face today, I want to try out the NYX Mineral Matte Finishing Powder. This is light medium. I've not tried this with this Maybelline foundation yet. I think I have ordered, but have not received yet, the Maybelline Fit Me powder. I had that years ago and remember really liking it, but I don't have it in my collection anymore. So I want to try that out with the Maybelline foundation. But another great powder at the drugstore, because I do love a loose powder, is this one from NYX. The Honest Beauty one that I usually use is also considered drugstore, but it's higher price tag than the NYX. So, all right. Okay. I actually really like how that looks. Do you see how perfecting that powder is? I feel like it didn't have to do too much work though, because that foundation was not showing too much texture. So I really like that. All right, and then on the under eyes, the new setting powder I'm gonna test out is from RMS. I can't tell if this is actually a brand new product to them. It's new to me. This is the Hydra Setting Powder. And it says, this long-wearing, weightless, oil-absorbing powder minimizes the appearance of pores, blurs imperfections, and sets makeup, delicately hydrates skin for a natural, smooth filter effect. And in the ingredients, it does have some hydrating ingredients, but it also has mica, which, if you know anything about kind of minerals and ingredients, you know that mica is that beautiful little, I want to say glitter. It's, you know, if you look at a rock and you see like the sparkle in there, that's mica. So I'm not quite sure how this, oil absorbing, it does have hydrating ingredients, but I don't know. I did use this all over my face the other day and I wasn't in love, but I want to try it under the eyes with this concealer. And let's just pull in a fluffy brush like this one. I've put a little bit in the cap. Now, what I do love about this powder, the packaging is genius. So it has a powder puff in the top, and then it has a flip top lid, which keeps the powder in place, but you can still dump the powder in the cap like I just did to use on a powder puff or a brush. I'm just making sure there's no creases. All right. So let's put this on and then we will kind of examine up close. Well, it looks really pretty, doesn't it? At least from a distance. Where's my mirror? Here it is. Let's see. I don't really see any visible shimmer or anything. So we'll see how it wears. We'll see how it wears throughout the day. All right, for blush, I kept going back and forth. I have purchased several things from the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale, but I'm gonna refrain from showing most of that for now. I did, however, recently pick up this Revolution Cheek Lift palette. I saw a review on this and it sold me. I thought, hey, I think this whole thing was $10. And I think these are pretty pigmented. So let's go in. I'm going to start here with this blush right here. And let's just tap a little bit of this on the tops of the cheeks. I want to keep the cheeks somewhat neutral, but slightly peachy leaning. So you can do neutral and like a cooler kind of rose tone if you have cooler tones to your skin, but I'm gonna go more in the peach realm. That's really pretty. And just using, I never tell you the name of this brush because it's not available, but it's a Morphe E4 and it's still my all-time favorite brush. I keep hoping that they're gonna bring it back one of these days, but any fluffy angle brush will work. Okay, that's pretty. I really like that. There are some highlights in here. I think they're, well, that's actually pretty. It's pretty gold though, and then the one in the bottom has a lot of color. So we'll use that in another day. So for highlighter today, let's use, go back to the RMS one. And this is Prosecco Pop, I believe, yes. And I'm going to use the rougher number 18 brush. and just blend a little bit of this into the cheek. So if you watched the first time I used this on camera, I had said I was struggling a little bit because this formula is pretty, it feels pretty hard in the pan, so it's not powdery, but you do have to kind of like work this into the skin, and then it becomes kind of more one with the skin, so it doesn't just sit on top, but you do need to kind of blend it in a little bit. All right, now trying to decide if we need any more bronzer. We'll add a little bit. So this is the Pretty Smart face palette. This is 059 all-in-one. This is from Walmart. And I have used this a few times, but it's been a while. So I'm going to tap into this powder, which is just kind of like a setting powder, and then a little bit of this bronzer. And I'm going to use the BK Beauty 103 brush. So I don't want too much here. Just a little. Okay, there we go. Yeah. I'm gonna blend that in. Oof. Make sure we don't get any strange patchiness here. Okay. Sometimes I blend down the cheek, or the cheek, the neck. You would think it was a Monday. It's not, but it feels kind of like it. Okay, on the inner corner of the eyes, let's go back to our palette and let's do a little bit. Ooh, yeah. Okay, let's do this one. Do you see how pigmented? Oh my goodness. Wow. So the shimmers in this palette pack a punch. If you don't like shimmer, don't get this palette because you'll be not using half the palette. But if you like a really good well-placed shimmer occasionally, I mean, there still are a lot of great matte options in this palette, but oh my goodness, the shimmers are just beautiful. And I think going into the holiday season, parties and all different kinds of things, events to go to, it's always fun to have some really fun shimmery shades like that. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, add just a little bit right there. Don't want to cover up our beautiful olive there, but wow, really like that. Okay, we need some brows. So in the 21 Days of Beauty sale from Ulta, I picked up a new Precisely My Brow from Benefit, and I ordered actually two because I love this pencil so much. And I've used this one, this brand new one, couple days, and it wasn't until today when I was pulling it out, I'm like, what does that say? I ordered two of 3.5. This is 3.75. They sent me by mistake 3.75, and I thought, uh-oh. But the last couple days, I have not minded how my brows looked. So I'm going to use this today, and then you can tell me if you feel like it's too warm. I thought, wait, have I not paid that close attention to my brows the last few days to know that it looks a little warmer than usual? I don't know. So we'll see what you think. And I did pull the box out of the trash can in case I need to exchange it. But the other one, they got right, the 3.5. So I have no idea. Somebody must have just put the wrong one in my package. So we'll see. But have you ordered anything from the 21 Days of Beauty sale? It's probably nearing its end by the time this video goes up, or it's probably just over. So you'll have to let me know what you picked up. I have a few more things coming, but I did order one or two things on a couple of days. It seems like I did several blushes this time, cheek products, I should say, and then of course these brow pencils, and just mainly I felt like I wasn't really trying too many new things, just stocking up on some of my favorites. So, but all right, let's see what we think. Let's get this brow on, and then I'll tell you in October, the other exciting thing that is happening is I get to attend another fun event for Laura Geller. I'm so excited. I was able to go last year to, it was in LA, which was quite a long drive all by myself. And I was driving there thinking to myself, am I really going to this event all by myself? I don't know anybody here. And it was a little, I'll be honest, I was quite intimidated, but it turned out to be a fun day. It was a very long day though. We stayed for the taping of 2 shows for Wheel of Fortune because it was right after Laura Geller, the launch of the Laura Geller Wheel of Fortune Vanna White collaboration. So it was really fun. It wasn't an actual luncheon. It was just kind of hors d'oeuvres. And then we, stayed for the filming of the shows. And so LA is, people crack up when I give them time frame rather than miles from where I live. So, but that's just kind of the reality. You could say something's 20 miles away, but if it takes 2 hours to drive those 20 miles, it's different. So LA, it took me, I think, over 2 hours to get there because there was traffic. And then coming home, I think it was closer to 3 hours home. And I was so exhausted. So this year, I have invited one of my dear friends to go with me, and because we were allowed to bring a guest this year. And so I am so much more looking forward to it. And it's just a luncheon. We don't have any details yet, but I am excited. I think Laura Geller is just a sweetheart. I got to actually sit next to her for one of the shows that was being filmed. So I got to actually talk with her personally and so enjoyed that. All right, now just going in with a little Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. And speaking of Laura Geller, I almost was going to film the Laura Geller full face today instead of this makeup look, but I just got in I ordered a few more products to test out. So I want to test those first and then do my full face of Laura Geller. So it'll be almost a full face. I'm not sure I have any brow products from her, but I have almost everything else. So that will be fun. So stay tuned. All right. The brows are okay. I don't know. I can tell now that I know I'm looking at warmer brows. I think they look a little warmer, but maybe it's okay. We'll see. We'll see how the finished look comes together. All right. Now let's see here. Okay. Let's do a little touch up here. Okay, let's do mascara and then we'll see if we need any more. I'm going to curl the lashes with my rougher eyelash curler. So another trend that seems to be sweeping through with mascara is brown mascara. What do you all think of this trend? Have you tried it? I have not, but I do have one today. I'm gonna try this on the lower lash line. I think that I would like this on the lower lashes. We'll find out, but I don't know that I am fully on board with it for my upper lashes. So we'll see. I'm gonna go in first with the MAC Stack. This is the Legit Lift Lash Primer and then the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. So we're gonna do this on the upper lashes. I have really enjoyed this mascara primer. It is different than any of the others that I love. The difference with this one is it almost makes your mascara waterproof. Almost. I mean, I did have the other day, I got something in my contact and my eyes were watering like crazy out the corner. And usually that means that my mascara is going to be running also. And it was not. And then when you go to remove your mascara at night, I have to actually, hardly any of the mascara comes off with my normal oil cleanser. I have to remove most of it when I use this primer with my coconut oil. And it does come off with the coconut oil. It's not hard to get off then, but the other thing about this is it is supposed to help provide curl and hold curl. So I've had a lot of questions about primers and curling of the lashes. I don't generally have issues with my lashes holding a curl once I curl them, but that is one of the claims of this primer. So if you're somebody who struggles with holding of curl, try this primer with your mascara. I have not yet tried it with the MAC Stack mascara. One of you told me you loved that combination, so I thought I had a sample of that MAC Stack mascara, but I can't find it, so I need to do a little more hunting, see if I can find it, because I remember trying that MAC Stack mascara and it smudged all over, and I liked how my lashes looked, but I couldn't handle the smudging. But one of you told me that paired with this primer, it makes it unsmudgeable, so that's really good. All right, I'm trying to be a little neater with my mascara application. We'll see how that ends up today. Miss Gracie is finally sacked out under my desk here. So she's finally given up on listening for cars and barking. We are going to be trying out a mobile grooming service for her. So I am interested to see how that works. And it would be nice, you know, convenience wise, obviously, to not have to drive to the place to drop her off. But the last time it took, she was there for half a day, 4.5 hours. And I think it was too hard on her. She really was, she was not a happy dog when I picked her up. Let me just say that. So we are going to be trying out a new groomer, and I am hoping that this is a good solution. They say it usually takes about an hour. So, you know, and then they come to the house, and the price for the one that I have booked, at least for next week, is just like $10 difference. So I thought, well, since her other place was all the way across town, it was 2 trips, I am saving gas money, so we'll see. But I am hopeful that this will be a good solution, because, you know, with a dog like Gracie, they don't shed, which is so wonderful, but you do have to have them groomed. And I mean, we're looking at 15 or more, hopefully, years of grooming ahead, and I don't want it to be a difficult experience every time. So we'll see. All right, let's go in with brown mascara. And I'm not sure if this is going to be a smudger or not, but the this is the Eyeko Black Magic Cocoa Edit mascara. Usually I've heard good things about this brand, and that the mascara usually doesn't smudge, so we're going to hope for good things. I think, is this a curved one? Nope. Oh, well, yeah, it's slightly curved. Okay, that is a pretty brown color. It's not super dark. I mean, you can still tell it's brown, but it looks like it will still give some definition. I think this could be the perfect in-between for those of you that feel like, you know, by putting mascara on your lower lashes, maybe it's too dramatic. If you want just a slightly softer look. I know some of you are hoping that one of these days I will go without mascara down here. I have done some videos like that, you know, no makeup in like 5 minutes with no mascara down here. So you can check out those quicker makeup looks, but I have really long lashes down here, and it looks just kind of funny if I don't have anything on them. So let's see. I think it looks softer. I'll have to look up in my up close mirror, but I don't know that I can tell that it's brown, which is fine. I'm okay with that. My thought was that potentially with the brown on the lower lash line with my green eyes, that it might kind of subtly enhance the color of my eyes as well. So we'll see. I have seen some not so great, well, I'll just say mixed reviews on one from CoverGirl that's more of like a burgundy brown color. I love the color of that one, but the formula is not getting great reviews. So I thought, let's try this one. And I feel like I got this one on a special also from Ulta. Okay. All right, I gotta let that dry. I've got a couple little specks there. In the meantime, let's go to lips. And I just had the Ole Henriksen lip peptide lip plump on. So my lips are nice and hydrated. Now oh, here we go. So I pulled out several lip options using the MAC Soft Paint Pot first. And depending on how my eyes turned out, I thought that will determine what we do on the lips. Overall, I think I want to keep it pretty neutral, nude. If this were summertime, I would probably go a little more peachy on the lips, but since it's not, it's more wintry or fall. I wish it were more wintry. More of a fall look. Let's go a little more neutral, kind of warm neutral. I think what I'm gonna do, let's do a Fenty lip combination and then we might add some gloss. So this is one of the newer, these are actually both newer products from Fenty Beauty. So this is the lip liner and this was that crazy name. What is it? What is the name on this? Oh, I can't read it. Where is it? Anyway, I'll put the color name in the description box down below. And then this is one of her kind of sheer balm glosses. I actually like the two colors that I have in this. So I've enjoyed this. This lip liner is decent. I actually think still the Charlotte Tilbury is longer lasting and the Natasha Denona is longer lasting. But this one's nice and smooth for sure. And I feel like I have a hair. Okay. The only thing with this one, because it is so smooth, I have to sharpen it almost every time. And so I feel like I'm going through this pretty fast. And I don't use this every day. So that's something to note. The Maybelline ones are also amazing. Kind of similar thing though. They are so smooth glide, but you do have to sharpen them often. And so I am going through those quickly, but of course those are a little less expensive than these. Okay, so that is a very brown neutral color. And I still have something, oh, I hate that. Get something on your lips and it's just there. It's not going anywhere. Oh, okay. Now this color, I'll have to put it down below, but this is the lightest shade. And then I also have the next one up. So this one has more pink. Love this shade, but I've enjoyed this for more of a nude neutral look. So, and these do have a little, kind of almost the scent of her glosses. And a little, I feel like they have a little plumping feel. We'll see, but it's nothing painful at all. Very shiny. You really don't need a gloss with these. All right, let's go back to the lip liner now. I'm gonna blend the edge of that. So not really going for the 90s look. I did a little bit of that back then. Actually, not a ton because I wasn't deep into, well, I did do lipstick, but I don't remember wearing lip liner in the 90s at all. So, all right, let's just, oh, man, from eyeliner to lip liner, I'm just not being real accurate here today. Okay, let's clean up the little splotches of mascara we have. And we'll check out, actually, the concealer with that powder is looking really good at the moment. I'll show you in just a moment. And yeah, I really, up close, I can't tell that I'm wearing brown mascara. So depending on what you're looking for, if you want something that really screams brown, I don't know that that's the mascara, but it does just look slightly softer than my upper lashes, right? Okay, let me go do my hair and I'll pop back for the finished look. Okay, I'm back, and I apologize if the angle of the camera is slightly different. I had to move my camera into the bathroom and back. So here now is our finished look. And overall, I love it. I love this kind of soft olive look. It's a little bit kind of grungy, a little bit smoky, but not too much. So I don't think. I love how the shadows from this palette performed. I think they're beautiful. I love the fact that the mascara has not smudged even through a hair tutorial. And I will keep an eye on that powder as well, how it works with that concealer. But my skin feels nice and lightweight. So overall, I really love how all of these products came together. As always, check the description box down below for links and a list of everything I used today, along with a link to the hair tutorial and what's on my nails, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.